Good morning and welcome to Breaking Burnout for Nurses. Today, my guest is going to be Cinda Rothman. She's a certified hypnotherapist. And I'm so excited to have you here, Cinda. So I've known Cinda for
Great.
quite a while. I want you to let everyone know a little bit about yourself and how you became a therapist and why.
Sure. So I became a hypnotherapist in 2008. It's my second or third career, depending on how you're counting. I raised three kids, and I was a legal secretary, and I was an office manager. And all along the way, I kept using psychology, which is what I went to college for and which is what I wanted to be. And so when my youngest daughter was a senior in high school, I went back to school and I did a 2-year paraprofessional counseling program, which was great, taught me a lot about counseling, but it didn't enable me to go out and see clients without a supervisor or without being in a group setting. And I did want to work individually with clients. So I heard about becoming a hypnotherapist. So luckily, I live right down the road from the Hypnosis Motivation Institute where I went to school. So every day I would go to work as a legal secretary, and then I would go to school to become a hypnotherapist. So that was all
Awesome.
good, except that I became a hypnotherapist right when the '08 financial crisis happened.
Oh, yeah.
And people were not really interested in sleeping better.
Right.
They were more interested in paying their bills than they were in
Yes.
self-improvement. And
Mm,
like every other therapy, hypnotherapy is optional. You
yeah.
can survive without sleeping better. You can survive without losing weight. You can survive without
Mhm.
stopping smoking. So it was kind of hard starting my practice then, but I kept at it and now I have a pretty good practice. This week I had 11 clients scheduled. Of course,
Whoa.
then the fires happened and, we'll see how that turns out. But,
Yep.
we have to be flexible.
Yes, people have their priorities when disaster
Yes,
happens.
sure. And I understand that. And that's,
Oh, yeah.
obviously not a
Yeah.
problem. But the thing I love the most about hypnotherapy is seeing clients change right in front of me.
Yeah.
I can have a client come in who is completely stressed, barely can function, and after a couple of sessions, they're able to relax. They're able to use the recording I give them of the hypnosis part of the session so that they can do that at home and become better at relaxing, better at dealing with stress. They could use it to help them sleep better. So the next time they come to see me, they're relaxed, they're calm, they've had a good night's rest. So it's really very rewarding. And I
Yeah.
really like it because of that.
Yeah, you can actually see the evidence that you're helping them. And I'm sure they let you know that you're helping them.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories is a client who had had some medical issues, and so she stopped driving, and then it was the pandemic, so she didn't need to drive, and then her son was turning 6, and he wanted mommy to take him to school. Well, mommy hadn't driven for 6 years, so she was petrified. So we came up with, things to help her get better about driving, and I hypnotized her and sent her off with a recording, and she drove up herself to the next session. So
Oh,
that was really a great
wow.
improvement in one
That was
session
fast.
because, sometimes it works fast, sometimes it doesn't. It's really just has to do with the motivation and what we're working on. It can be fast or it can take a few sessions, but it doesn't take years, which is really nice. It takes,
Yeah.
usually 3 to 6 sessions, and I can see a big improvement in people, and they can see a big improvement themselves.
Oh, they feel it. About how
Mhm.
long is each session usually?
Well, the first session is an hour and a half because we have a lot to do. I have to explain how hypnotherapy works. We have to get to know each other. They're trusting me with their mind. And
Mhm.
that's not really an easy thing. So I really
Yeah.
want them to feel comfortable with me.
Mhm.
So, we do take our time in the first session. And then after that, sessions are 50 minutes.
All right. And then about how far apart, like would you do it maybe once a week? Does that also depend on the situation or is that a
It
common?
completely depends on the situation. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
once a week. If a client is busy, it can be every 2 weeks. And then once the client sees significant change, I might see them once a month for a couple of months just to kind of, make sure that things are solid. And it's really up to the client.
Well, so I'm thinking about my nurses, and
Mhm.
I think about the stress that nurses go through, and I think they might have to keep coming back every once in a while. I think you could help them for a while, and then is it common for them to have to come back after a year or maybe even less than a year?
Well, it depends, and I can give them some tools that would help them deal with what comes up on a daily basis as they're working that would help them be able to manage each day better going forward, so they might not need to see me. For
Mhm.
example, let's say a nurse was when she would go into work, she would think, "Oh, this is gonna be stressful. I don't know what's gonna happen, what's gonna get thrown at me, what problems I'm gonna have, patients or with the administration or with the doctors. Who knows what's going to happen?" Well, that's one way of looking at it, but if you go in instead with the idea of, "I'm a good nurse, I know what I'm doing, I can handle whatever happens." So if that is their mantra instead of, "Oh my god, what's gonna happen?"
Mhm. Yeah.
then they'll be able to function better, I think.
And there are so many other things that you can help with. I mean, stress is such a broad topic, I guess you'd call it. For instance, maybe alcoholism or weight loss. I mean, nurses go through everything that
Right.
that other people go through.
Of
But
course.
I just think of nurse burnout. But then sometimes with stress, nurses or other people might turn to drinking or drugs or other detrimental habits. And
Mhm.
so you can help them with that with your hypnotherapy also.
Right. We don't really deal with addictions per se, but
Hmm.
if a person is in, say, a treatment program for drug or
Hmm.
alcohol abuse, then I can work with them to kind of supplement what they're doing.
Okay.
I have worked with several women who want to drink less. They don't wanna stop drinking completely, but they wanna drink less because they
Hmm.
found it was, not making them feel good. So
Hmm.
we came up with several strategies that could help them. So that
Hmm.
might be something that I could help nurses with.
Hmm.
And, overeating is also can be a symptom of an addiction. So I can help them with that
Hmm.
as well. Just by giving them tools. It's all about tools. And one of the tools I give them is affirmations, which we're gonna talk
Hmm.
about later. But that's
Yes.
really
You'll
yeah,
have to come
that's really
back and we'll talk about that.
right. But that's really an important tool
Hmm.
because what you tell yourself is what comes to be. So just think about that for a minute. What are nurses telling themselves every day? Is it positive information or is it negative? And
I
if
know
they
there's a
can just
lot of negativity.
yeah. And if they can just make that little shift from negative to positive, it could make a significant difference in how they view their world. I wrote a blog post, which I don't think has come out yet actually, but I had a terrible day. I was supposed to go and meet a repair person and they were 3 hours late. So my whole day was ruined, and they came and told me that I needed to replace the equipment completely, and instead of being a couple $100 service charge, it was gonna be a $12,000 replacement.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
I
gosh.
was a little bit upset. But then I thought, "Okay, well, partly why I'm upset is because I haven't had lunch all day. So I haven't eaten all
Oh,
day." So I
yeah.
decided it's now 3 o'clock. So I took
Mhm.
myself out to lunch at the beach, which I happen to be close to, had a lovely
Wonderful.
lunch at the beach, then decided, "Well, I'm just gonna walk on the sand for a little bit," which I did, and by then, it was the sunset, which was incredibly beautiful.
Oh, yes.
So I just decided, "Okay, I guess this is what I was meant to do today. I could have still been upset about how my day was ruined, but I decided to just go with the flow and
Mm.
have a great day. So that's what ended up happening.
Oh, I love that. I love your positive attitude and your shift, as you call it. So,
Yeah, I mean, we
um,
all have bad stuff happen.
yeah, every day.
Yeah, every day.
So it's how we handle it, right?
Correct.
Well, I want to thank you for being on my podcast, Breaking Burnout
Sure.
for Nurses. And of course, I definitely want to have you back on to talk about those affirmations that you were talking about. So, your information is going to be on my website, a little paragraph about you and a cute picture of you, so that anybody who wants to get more information can check my website. It's www.breakingburnout.com. And I'll have your information on there with your social media links and your website and ways for nurses and others to get a hold of you for some hypnotherapy and affirmations. So I
Great.
just want to
Thank
thank
you.
you very much for being on my show.
Thank you, Bonnie.
All right. All right. We will see you next week on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Bye for now.